Hello everyone. I'm just here generally to speak about all things smart. You have the obvious ones, which are smartphones, yes, smartwatches, yes. Then you have things like smart bags where you just have something to connect to, a battery, and functionalities that are different, and it's called smart. It's not so frequent that you come across something that is truly out of the box thinking that changes the whole game. And I'm talking about this thing here. It's called Sgnl, and it's a Korean company that actually designed and produced it. We saw it back about a year and a half ago, and it's taken time for them to build it and to send it out and to ship it. When what the concept based on this is to use bone conduction to spread the information from this gadget and change the way you hear it. And I'll explain that in a minute, what that does and how that is made possible. First, let's have a look at this. I'm just going to take it off the watch. So, as you can understand, this didn't come like this. This is just the Mykonos Z-Time smartwatch. I've just connected it to, so you can connect whatever you want. You can connect your Apple Watch to it, your Gear 4 to it, or any watch that you feel you want, you can attach it to. Unfortunately, I had the gold option. There might not be the suitable one with a black strap, but what are you gonna do? So, going through the whole concept of this is essentially, it's a strap. It's got a module that produces the transmission, and that goes through your bones into the fingertip. And it's a bit complex than just strapping on something and assuming that you could hear from the fingertips. And if you see the brochures, it's kind of people going around doing that, right? Sounds silly, I think, but it definitely has a cool factor. The way things happen is very quick. So right out of the box, you can connect this to the smartphone. There's an app, you just download it. It's just pretty straightforward. It's a Bluetooth connectivity, is very precise, very distinct. Quick overview of the module itself. It's really good built. I mean, it's not plastic. It's certainly not plastic. It's got a good feel to the module itself. It's got a vibrating component inside this. It's got a smart button here to answer calls, to stop playing music, all of the things. And then you got two buttons, one on the top, one on the bottom, just to control your volume. Been using this almost about 24 hours to 48 hours, and there are things that I absolutely love and things that probably for the technology itself gives the problem there and then. So first things first, trying to put this in, and let's put it on. So this goes around and snaps it in place. This is good when I had a little bit of more space to work with here. The problem came in when the strap was as itself without the phone on it. Of course, you got the possibility to increase the amount of modules here and to decrease it based on the size of your wrist, of course. But when it was without the watch, it was completely difficult to get this on, but that doesn't seem to be a problem. While you have the watch on, it just gives a little bit of that space that's wider than the actual module, the base plate that it came with. Right, so as you can understand the concept, that's where that's where the module is. That's where the produces the sound. So it creates like a speaker sort of thing. that it creates that sound there, and the anticipation is that it creates all the way through to the tip of the finger. Is for the different types of bones that need to work together. It's not one solid bone that goes from here to here. I mean, yes, you understand the concept anyway. So the anticipation, and I presume it was a mighty headache to try and get this to work properly. So produces the sound, anticipation to go through, and then for you to hear it. So the concept is, you put it here and you won't hear it. You put it here, you won't hear it. You put it here, you won't hear it. The only way you're going to hear it is right there. So you're going to, you can imagine when you shove your finger right in, that's essentially the tragus. That's the external ear. So you're actually compressing the tragus and you're putting pressure on it so that the contact between the distal bone and the temporal bone come in contact. So that's the only way you can get it to work properly. There are some things that are brilliant. So the first thing is how quickly it connects. It's brilliant. The structures of it, how it's built, the build is solid. There's no denying that. There's no compromise in that. When it comes to the actual reason you buy this is to hear it with your fingertip, that's when things get a little bit more complicated than it actually sounds. So when you connect it, one, for you to hear something, and I'm going to play something in a second, for the volume to be transmitted onto your bone, you need to be producing a lot of volume from here in order for you to be able to hear. And the problem is, when you increase the volume, everyone around you can hear you. So you kind of look like a complete dork when you're trying to have a privacy conversation with your finger stuck up your ear and everyone can hear, and you're pretending that no one can hear because it's private, and it isn't. It just isn't. So let me demonstrate that for you. I've got unbox therapy going on the background, and I'm trying to hear it. Yes, I can certainly hear it. I mean, it's no problem to hear it. Now I've got it on the lowest volume possible. Okay, I've got the lowest volume possible, and I'm going to show you something. I can I mean, I can hear it. I don't even need to put it here. Like, yes, it's interesting when you put it inside, you can actually hear it. But that's on this ear. But I can also hear it from this ear because it's projecting such a large volume out that you couldn't. It's not private at all. It just isn't. So it kind of works, and it kind of beats the purpose of having it on your fingertip. You can't hear it much through this thing, but for you to do that, you can increase the volume. But the more you increase the volume, the amount of volume that leaks out is beyond proportion. So it that brings on to the next problem, because if you want to hear it properly, you're gonna have to shove your finger into the tragus so much that after about 5 minutes I found my tragus to be so painful. And here's the other thing as well. You're doing this, right? And just in case you press a little bit to the front, that's one of your biggest arteries going down. That's the superficial temporal artery. That's the artery that essentially supplies blood to. And like when I do that, and if you were watching this, if you press there, you can feel the artery pulsating. So imagine you're shoving it right. I understand it's just a little bit behind, but it only takes a little bit for you to compress the artery long enough for you to have lack of supply to the region anyway. Now, let's be realistic. This is the first iteration of its kind. There's going to be a second version, and it's going to be brilliant. They're going to address most of these issues. They probably would have had all of these problems they've noticed already, and they must be working on a section 2. But as it stands at the moment, the design concept is, by far brilliant. Like, come on, you've got something that you can actually do this. You can make a conversation. I've had chats over the phone. You can make a conversation, but you can also understand that most of that volume would leak out, so you wouldn't want to have a private conversation in a public place where everything is quiet and everyone can hear what you're essentially talking about. And there's the other concept of the fact that if you were a secret FBI agent walking around and do this, you'd be forgiven for doing it. But a normal guy going around that, I'm not so sure. I don't know. But look, it's brilliant. Have your thoughts, have your say. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. I'm going to give it another try. I'm going to persevere with this and see some of the quirks and some of the things that I come across, and I'll update you later on. But it's there you have it. I'm just going to leave it up to you.